Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. I'm Javon.
Calvin.
And welcome back.
What's up?
You got anything that happened to you this week?
Nope.
All right, moving on to That Happened. I don't have much. Because I was thinking, oh, it was nice and quiet-ish. Minus what was going on with the RNC. Did you happen to catch any of the stuff around RNC?
Why?
What did you think of Hulk Hogan coming out to speak?
Part of course.
For whatever reason, some people were shocked.
Part of course.
I don't know why so many people were shocked. A lot of people were like, Hulk Hogan is a Republican? A lot of wrestlers are a Republican. A lot. The Rock is Republican.
Surprise.
Yeah. They're like, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin's not Republican. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
The dude is an actual redneck.
But my other thing, though, is that you can be Republican and not be a jerk. That's possible. It seems like it's rare, but it is possible.
So you mean to tell me they're confused because none of these people are jerks?
Yes. It's really throwing them for a loop. Although Hulk Hogan is a jerk, so he just had another racist scandal that popped off.
Last time I checked, he don't like black women
promoting his
products.
Correct.
Apparently.
Allegedly. But it was just, Kid Rock made a surfaced. People weren't aware of the Kid Rock story. That cracked me up. That was hilarious. People did not realize that Kid Rock did not come from the dirty streets of Detroit. He is from money. He's from wealth. So it was hilarious. Hilarious. Anywho. Also Donald Trump with the Kotex on his ear, parading about how he can't be stopped. Can't stop, won't stop. Donald Trump.
Stop. Because there's nothing there. So why are we wearing a patch?
We gotta drill him up.
Normally when you wear patches like that, you're still bleeding.
Yeah, usually you can see the blood coming through. Correct.
Yes, normally.
Correct.
That's what happens. But apparently his is forever clean.
There's so many questions around that thing. Have you seen the new stuff that they've talked about or discovered?
What?
So many things.
What?
How Secret Service declined further security measures. How people reported the shooter an hour before he shot.
Like I said,
the cops are saying that Secret Service told them not to look at a certain area when they were doing the campaigning. Secret Service is saying that's not true. We told them to look everywhere. The FBI probe that's happening now. Hilarious.
Sounds like to me. First of all you people thinking that this is a government hit, this is not a government hit at all. When the government comes after you, they don't send a boy to do a man's job. They don't miss. Ask everybody else who they set up, supposedly. They didn't miss. So, I just think the shit was staged.
It is rather convenient that not only did he manage to dodge it, they let him stay on the stage for as long as they did while he looked for his shoes.
This dude.
They caught the guy, did a background search on him, and apparently he just had like all this access to guns while being registered to vote for the Republican Party, but also had a hit list that included Biden and Trump. Very interesting.
I don't know.
Very interesting. Also, no social media presence, and he's 20. It's very interesting.
All I know is this guy, I thought there was a ladder that he used to climb outside. This dude used a ladder in my barn to climb up on the side of the building. So this dude brought a rifle and his own ladder to climb the building.
You gotta be prepared.
No one saw this.
They weren't told to look there, remember? It's just so many questions. Anywho, all of that's going down. But the most recent news is that Joe Biden has stepped down from being the nominee for the Democratic Party and will not be running for president in this next term, which is insane. We have 4 months to go. Voting is happening in November. We already voted for the primary, and so that'll be crazy. This will be crazy. Calm down. Thank you, Joe Biden. Now I have to talk somebody off the roof. You just really want to run that joke, huh? Like you just so bad.
You're
Thanks, Biden. You really want to do that so badly.
because you're acting like the sky is falling.
Calvin, did I not show you that TikTok of that guy who was like preparing myself for when we go back to slavery? That was.
I
I don't think it's far from the truth.
Whatever. The sky is not falling. Tomorrow will come. You'll be all right.
The conversation right now, the discourse that's being had right now,
granted,
worse. All speculation,
so
is that they're going. Well, Biden said he's going to endorse his VP, so Kamala Harris might be taking the lead on the ticket. She is being considered for the role of President of the United States. What's getting me is the brief discourse that I'm hearing from news outlets around Kamala taking the lead is that they're like, oh, this will bring life back to the Democratic Party. Not only for people of color, but for the youth. They'll be excited because now we have somebody who's not an old white guy. Now we have a woman of color who could be the first female president. And I'm like, I think you guys are not understanding how liked Kamala Harris is with these groups. I feel like you are greatly dismissive of how people are feeling about Kamala Harris in these groups. It is all white people having this discussion, so there's that.
Whatever. I don't like talking politics.
You just went on a rant, a tinfoil hat rant, and now you don't like it?
You did. Well, we did for like 2 seconds. But, it is what it is.
That's my Dat Happened, though, honestly, because that's the biggest news. I'm sad. Anyway, moving on to Worth the Watch. You ready?
I don't know why.
Because I don't want to be under Trump again. That's why.
You survived the worst. You'll be all right.
What was worse than Trump? What was worse than Trump?
The air. Whatever. Moving on to That Happened. Are we done with That Happened?
Moving on to That Happened?
Moving from what That Happened.
Calvin, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
I said, are you ready for Worth the Watch? That's what I said.
I'm confused. Yeah, Worth the Watch. The Dirty Dizzy
finale.
The
last 3 episodes dropped for the Dirty D. They said it was going to drop earlier in July. It didn't. It just randomly dropped this weekend. So that's happening. And I made Calvin watch him. Y'all caught up?
The worst 3 hours of my life.
In case you forgot, because it's been a minute, the beginning of season 3 was basically was mess. Brick got shot and was in the hospital. Lachey, the nurse who was dating Terrence, who was the former cop, she also went to the hospital and ended up losing the baby. Then we also found out that the DNA results that she tested Terrence and Money Mike for in season 2 didn't really go through the correct channels. So she's just holding on to these results. Do we know anything about these results? Are they going to expand on the results? They did not. They just looked at them the entire season. Then we also have Kyra, who's missing. She allegedly ran off with Terrence. The cops at the Dirty D give us a breakdown, a catch-up. In episode 3 of the season, to kind of let you know what's going on with the people. Brick in hospital. Kyra and Terrence, gone. They were our leads in the first 2 seasons, but now they gone. Now we've got U.S. Marshals that have come because reasons. They said they have a case against Brick that they're also pursuing, but they're also looking at the internal investigation that's happening with Detroit. I don't know why U.S. Marshals would be involved in that, but sure. Then we also have a gazillion new faces that they've included. Where do you want to start?
Whatever. Just point me in a direction.
Overall, the story is these last 3 episodes is that Boom now has control of the Dirty D. He gets power of attorney from Brick to take over the club. Him and some brand new girl named Cash are now running the club. Cash has become his right hand. He knows her from Philly. They don't explain what this means. Then he gets rid of some of the girls that were working with him, with the exception of another new face, Jordan. Boom and Jordan hook up and have sex. We don't know who this girl is. She just showed up. She's one of the bottle girls. That's all we know. Turns out she's a runner for him. She's been dropping off the liquid heroin, whatever drug this is that's in the alcohol bottles.
I think they made that up too.
she's been dropping them for him at the Gentleman's Club, allegedly, because he had to do that in season 2 because Dirty D got kind of shut down for a little bit. He drops her all of a sudden. He has sex with her. He was paying her. And now she's finding out that Cash is doing all the drops. And she's like, what's that about? I thought it was me. And he's like, don't ask me about my business. And gets rid of her. So, like, it's okay. Does this lead anywhere? I don't know. She talks to some dude on, like, her last shift. And she's like, understand me? He's like, I got you. That's all. That's it. That's all we get.
And then apparently she might have sort of set up Cash to get shot.
We don't know. We don't even know he's tied to Cash. We just see a dude pull up in a Jeep truck and miss wildly. Cash naturally survives. All that happens is glass kind of shatters.
She gets up and
reads the license plate
to herself like 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Then she goes home. Calls another police officer to run the plates for her.
I believe his name is Sean. Okay. The reason she has Sean's number is because she ran into him when he was looking into the Kira missing case. He went back to Kira's apartment and was looking around and finds a necklace. It's a locket of India and Kira. How it got missed by the police, I don't know, but it did.
And it's just sitting in the middle of the floor by itself.
And randomly, Cash is there with a gun to his head, and it's like, what are you doing to my best friend's house? How is Cash best friends with Kyra?
And apparently,
how?
I guess Sean reminds her, y'all might not be that much closer friends.
No, he brings that up afterwards when he's like, did you know she got engaged to Terrence? And she's like, that's not true. Did you know she dated me for a little bit? She's like, I never heard that. Did you know that she calls India her best friend? She's like, who the hell's India? Are you best friends with this girl or not?
Do you know she does cartwheels sometimes?
How you spell her name? They also have sex. Cash and Sean, I believe his name is Sean, this cop, they also get it in. And I don't know why. Because reasons. Then another new face that we get into, well, newish face that we get introduced to, Treasure, aka Precious. We met Treasure the early part of the season. She was running a lick with Brittany, who runs the Gentleman's Club. They were going against this guy trying to get his money. The same guy was holding India hostage in his basement. It was a very interesting story with those girls, being that Treasure was sleeping with this guy and agreed with Brittany to run game on him so that they could steal his money. But in the process of doing that, they discovered he was holding a girl downstairs. Then Brittany was like, well, let's see if we can save the girl. Girl disappears. Meanwhile, they got to face a dude. Brittany ends up killing that dude. Brittany ends up going to jail because she killed that dude. They were very quick to investigate and figure out that Brittany was associated with this man's murder.
She left her bracelet at the crime scene.
We've watched now 3 seasons of Dirty D. The cops have never moved this fast. Anyway, so now she's in jail. She needs a lawyer. She calls ICE and it's like, I need you to help me. I need you to get somebody to get me out. He calls in his favor to the only lawyer in Detroit, who's like, listen, I can help you, but you got to help me. Which I don't know why, because the person paying him is ICE. But whatever.
I don't think this dude makes money. He gets paid in sex. He gets paid in sex. That's all he does.
Also, ICE would be paying him. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm pretty sure he's a sex worker, but we just don't know it yet.
It's so confusing. But he helps Brittany get out of jail. She gets back to her spot. It's the day she gets out of jail, and she gets back to her apartment. She immediately checks under the bathroom sink to make sure that her Coke is still there, open in a basket, because they don't lock nothing. It's just under the sink for some reason with some cash. Then she goes to take a shower. Somebody starts knocking on her door, so she answers the door in a towel. It's the lawyer. And he's like, I'm here for my payment. She's like, I'm not one of these hoochie mama girls that you be running around who just give it away for free. Then they have sex on the couch.
And this is my problem with the Dirty D in a nutshell. These women who have all these self-esteem said,
all these self-esteems?
Yeah. Stand on business. I don't just give it up for nobody. You have to earn this. And then they forget immediately what they say, just have sex.
What I will say is the sex scene for them doesn't have the classic Dirty D music over it. So it's not like the slow music they usually play. You hear slapping and this girl crying out. So I was like, is this happening for real? Cut to next scene. Treasure, aka Precious, is giving Ice a hard time because she thinks Ice is not moving fast enough to help Brittany. Ice is like, cool your jets. I don't even know who the fuck you are. I'm helping her. She's like, okay. Why don't you have any thick girls dancing around here? It's like, this is what? And he's like, I can't keep them long. What do you mean you can't? What's happening? What do you mean you can't keep them long? Are they a high commodity and you can't find them? What's going on? But she's like, maybe I can change that. Next thing we know, she's dancing. She's dancing on stage. Brittany comes back to the club, sees Treasure dancing. The guard at the door is telling her that Treasure's like the best thing since sliced bread for the club. She's bringing in new clientele. She's breaking up all this money. He's never seen a girl dance like her. And she sees that it's Treasure, and she gets pissed for some reason. And she immediately accuses Treasure of sleeping with Ice. Treasure's like, I would never sleep with Ice. I know you love that guy. And they go back and forth. It's Brittany being like, oh, but you'll get down on your knees to get this job. And she's like, that's not what happened. I got the job anyway. You were going to help me get a job here. Brittany's like, it's a different thing if I helped you versus you getting it on your own. She's like, why? I got the job. It doesn't matter. She's like, well, you know, trying to call this girl a hoe. But then the girl flips it back on Brittany and is like, weren't you a hoe? Didn't you have a whole threesome with his girl in order to keep your job? Brittany's like, that's the pass.
No, what happened was Brittany was trying to, I don't know, I guess trying to keep some control she had over her. And she was like, yo, you don't tell me anything, so I didn't know if you were getting out or you would stay in. How I'm going to pay all these bills. Because evidently she didn't know where the money was.
How?
So that's how they ended up having a fallout. Because she was like, I needed to do something. I couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when you was coming back.
The fallout didn't make any sense at all. In any way.
Does anything make sense?
Nope.
Okay.
So then, a little bit later in the show, Treasure has sex with Ice. Ice is like, I got a call. They're telling me I got to come check out the club. Except it's not the club. He goes to Brittany's house. And it's like,
drop off the keys for the safe.
And he's like, here you go. But Brittany's not there. It's just Treasure. And then they have sex. It's like, okay. Sure. We get a little more time with the cops. Ray, who's this cop with like red hair that's in the show, she kind of picked up at the very end of the first 3 episodes we got. We know that this Puerto Rican cop that works with her, and one of the U.S. Marshals, whose name I can't remember and I refuse to learn, are in like a threesome or a love triangle. But Ray doesn't know this. Ray doesn't know that the U.S. Marshal and the Puerto Rican cop have been diddling each other. To her knowledge, the Puerto Rican cop is interested in her, but she's moving slow for her. She's not trying to risk her job. She's trying to be smart about it. She's a single mom, and she keeps saying stuff like that. However, at the first opportunity to get reckless, she does. The U.S. Marshal decides she's going to befriend Ray for some reason to ruin chances that Ray has with the Puerto Rican cop somehow. She's like, let's go out somewhere. Let's get drunk on a Thursday. She's like, sure. They go out. They go to the Dirty D, of course. The U.S. Marshal catches that the girls are running some kind of game at the club. They're spiking drinks and taking people money. And apparently it's just a game that they run. So the U.S. Marshal notices this, but instead of arresting them, she's like, tighten up. Also, do it to my friend's drink because I need her to get drunk. We don't know why she's doing any of this. Then we find out.
At all. It makes no sense.
She just randomly is like, spike her drink. Then we find out it is to set her up. Once she gets the girl back to her car, she has some random guy come in. So it looks like Ray is giving head to the random guy, and she's taking all kinds of pictures on her phone. It's the sloppiest setup.
First of all, everybody
that goes nowhere.
First of all, everybody's phone is protected somehow.
Yeah. Like a text message comes through and she immediately is able to text it back. Like it's not locked, nothing.
So somehow she unlocked this girl's phone. Who knows?
But the setup doesn't make any sense. The setup is like having a great time. It's supposed to be the Puerto Rican cop checking on Ray. He's like, I hope you're being safe. Be watchful of that U.S. Marshal you're with. You can't trust everybody because he's been running game with the Marshal, but it's very much painted like the Marshal is extorting him. She's forcing him to do sexual favors for him. It's not making a whole lot of sense. Anyway.
For her?
Yeah. For her. Yeah. She's extorting him. She's extorting the Puerto Rican guy to do sexual favors for her.
Why?
I don't know. It just randomly started happening that they were knocking boots. And then all of a sudden, she sees he's interested in Ray, and she's like, you need to cut the shit right now, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, calm it down. You're not the only one. Oh, because she's like, if you don't stop messing with her, I'm going to let him know what's going on with you. And he's like, I'm not the only person that has secrets. You'd say something, I'm gonna say something. I don't know what that means. And we don't get to know. And then she does mess with Ray. She sets her up with that photo shoot to make it look like Ray is giving head to some random guy, but it doesn't get sent anywhere. She doesn't send it to the cop. She doesn't send it to the cop. Ray finally wakes up out of her drug stupor and is like, yo, why this girl leave me in the middle of nowhere? But that's it. That's the extent of it. That's as far as it goes. Then we see Ray talking with the cop, with the PR, the Puerto Rican dude, later at the precinct. And it's just the U.S. Marshal being like, all right, I'm going to fix both of them. Doesn't go anywhere. But that's happening. The other U.S. Marshal is dating the mother and the daughter duo.
First of all, he's talking to the mom. If you don't know, a couple of episodes back, the mom dropped her license somewhere. He picked it up and took it to her. That's how he started talking to her. So he's dating her and sleeping with her. He's at a restaurant randomly, and the daughter is working there with the horrible attitudes. I don't know why she thinks she could be a waitress. She's not working at Dick's. She's working at a regular restaurant.
Well, she got kicked. So Boom told her he was going to kick her out. This is the baby mama who's and her mom. She told the latest is that she's telling Boom that her youngest son is his. She's done told everybody that youngest son is his. We also found out later, Terrence, who was supposed to be another baby father for this kid,
so
can't have kids.
I was gonna set all of that up.
Set it up, how, Colin?
Because after she gets through meeting the cop and him giving him her phone number to meet him, she's going back to the bar or something. She runs into the girl that Terrence was messing with.
Lachey, the nurse.
Lachey, the nurse. They talk back and forth. And they get into it, and then she goes, "Oh, I heard you lost the baby. So sad, whatever," throwing it in the girl's face. "I guarantee you don't know who your baby daddy is." She's like, "I knew my baby daddy is." She's like, "Wrong. Terrence can't have kids." And that's how we find out Terrence can't have kids.
But then it also throws more into the wind because who the fuck did Lachey have sex with that we don't know about? Who was the mysterious baby daddy that could have been the potential father of a child? It didn't make no sense.
So, and I'm looking at her like, so she was right. That dude can't be the father of your child. So anyway you look at it, she was right.
But if that dude can't be the father of the child, then why do we keep looking at these paternity tests? What's the point of us looking at these paternity tests?
Because he doesn't know he can't have kids, apparently.
But they already said in the second season that he's not the father. So why are we still looking at these paternity tests?
I don't know.
Okay.
But he doesn't know he can't have kids because when they were together, she was throwing away all the stuff that was coming to the house for him.
The baby mama.
From the doctors.
Which doesn't make sense either. Because a doctor would tell you to your face.
Because a doctor would eventually call your phone and talk to you like, "Yeah, you need to come in. Stat. We need to talk."
There's also other ways to keep track of your records. It's not just mail. So it's
So we figured out.
It's the dirty D.
So we figured out why it's all this confusion. Because the three main characters are no longer with the show.
We figured out?
I said, well, Javon did some digging, some sleuthing, and figured out that the three main characters aren't even with the show anymore because they wanted more money.
Which is all the people that are mysteriously missing. Kira, Terrence, and Brick.
So that's why now...
And we don't know that's more money. They called it contract disputes.
It's normally more money. That's what that means. So... that's why they're just running around with a chicken with their head cuts off, just making stuff up because...
There's an interview with the Dirty D creator, Lisa Brown, where they talk about how, like, because of these contract disputes, she basically had to rewrite season 3 in a rush.
And you can tell.
So here's my thing. This season doesn't feel any different than season 1 or 2. It doesn't. Storytelling wise, it feels the same.
It really doesn't.
So why are you saying that now it makes sense when that wasn't the case for the first 2 seasons?
Because this season is even more
discombobulated
than the other 2. Like, at least you had a structure of making stuff up. Now it's like, we're just going to go this way. No, we're going to go that way. You know what? I forgot which way you went. Just go this way. You know what? Screw it. We'll just do something brand new. That's what it seems like. Everybody, when they meet everybody who meets a character, they have a different whole direction they go in.
Mm-hmm.
So if I meet you, me and you got a direction we're going in. But I go meet somebody else. Now, I mean, that person got a totally different direction that makes no sense. It has nothing to do with nothing.
I'm just saying, if we rewind back or listen to earlier podcast episodes of us talking about Dirty D season 1 and 2, they're saying the exact same thing for those 2 seasons.
I know. I think but the first 2, at least, you can tell what they were trying to kind of do.
Could ya?
Kinda. Sorta. This season, I have no idea. At all.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this season.
I feel like because those people were gone, it actually cleaned up some stuff, in my opinion. Because what were they going to do with Boom? Boom at the end of season 2, there was a storyline happening with Boom, and if the other people had stayed, it would have gone nowhere. But now that they're gone, it went somewhere.
Siobhan, they go nowhere with a lot of storylines.
That's what I'm saying. So you saying 1 and 2 were more cohesive than 3 doesn't make sense.
What I'm saying it I think it's a little more cohesive than 3.
I like how you're gonna fight me on it, and then just go back and say what I'm saying. Anyway, point is.
But I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
It's
the reason I think 3 is a little more cohesive than 1 and 2 is because it allowed the writer to close up a lot of open-ended cliffhangers in season 2. At the end of 2, there was a lot of stuff open where it was like, where are we going with this?
But she still didn't close them. They're still open.
No, they're closed because they concerned Kira and Terrence, and actually to an extent India, and they managed to close all of those.
They're still out there somewhere.
No, they're not coming back.
But to everybody else in the show, they're still missing.
But what I'm saying is they no longer became a primary focus. We got more story on Boom. Boom's storyline is actually pretty cohesive. He was the right-hand man to Brick. He gains a little bit more insight in the second season after he finds out that what's-his-face has been basically sleeping with Brick's wife. Watching Yaya try to take over the club, he gets insight on how that's happening. He helps to broker deals to keep the drug business moving with the Gentlemen's Club and Ice, who happens to be Brick's cousin. Then he manages to get control of the club. And now we're watching how he's trying to establish his power dynamic. Him creating his own relationship with their plug was also part of this season.
All the seasons are discombobulated. Okay? I think this one.
We can agree to disagree. I think that this one
is more discombobulated than all of them.
The other thing is that's cracking me up is Calvin hasn't watched any of these in their entirety at all. I have.
Because every time I get to I'm tracking.
So why are you going to tell me that I'm wrong and you're right?
Well, this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right. This is my opinion. Every time I get to, I think, okay, I'm following. Then a new person comes in. I'm like, why? We brought in like 3 or 4 different new people for no reason. Like the girl that supposedly was pushing stuff for Brick. What was the point to her? I guess she's Cash's rival in this show.
My theory is that she picked up what Honey's storyline was supposed to be. In season 2, that was who was in the car with Boom when he was like, I need you to do this for me. I need you to run this stuff. That's who was in the car, was Honey, not Jordan. But then they switched it, and all of a sudden Jordan's the one with that storyline.
Why?
I don't think Honey was supposed to come back. In my opinion, I don't think Honey was supposed to come back. I think of the names also that weren't going to come back, she was in that list because she's barely in this season.
Okay. So that's why I say this season to me is more discombobulated than others.
Well, the other thing is you haven't watched all of them. That's the other thing.
Because it's hard to when you say, okay,
I'm just saying, you giving this opinion and saying that there's no room for my opinion is rich from somebody who has not watched all of it.
I didn't say it was no room. Sure. All right. Yeah, you're right.
Anywho.
Yeah.
To Calvin's delight, there's going to be a spinoff called The Dirty A, which is going to be the Dirty D, but Atlanta.
And I'm not going to watch that. I'm watching that just as hard as I watch this one.
You're going to love it.
No, I'm not.
You're going to love it.
Because first of all, there could be a lot of people talking in slang that most people probably can't understand.
I doubt it. I think it's going to be all the actors from Detroit, but they're going to say it's Atlanta.
Why?
Because it's cheaper.
And I'm like, this is a dirty D. This is not Atlanta.
That you'll be the only one. You just said you weren't going to watch it, so how does it affect you?
It doesn't even matter. I know I'm going to end up watching it because you're going to coerce me into doing it.
Coerce you?
Yes.
But
I'm just saying.
So the season ends. The cliffhanger is, what does the lady U.S. Marshal want with Ray and the Puerto Rican cop? What does the guy Marshal want with the baby mama who he has coerced to his apartment under the guise of being romantic and then drops on her?
She could be cutting up dope.
That we're cooking tonight. And she said, what are we cooking? Dope. And we don't get explanation.
No sense at all.
We don't get any explanation. We get a whole nother episode. Nothing.
None. Because we looked at you like, what? What?
Are you cooking dope?
I'm like,
what's happening?
I'm like, first of all, normally you don't cook dope in nice apartments because it's the smell.
Also, it kind of gives the tone that he wants to cook dope, like under the table. Because if it was a part of his investigation, because my other thing was, the way to connect this was that maybe he knows she's saying she's the baby mama to Boom. And maybe he knows Boom is doing Brick's business. So he was going to go at it that route. But it doesn't feel like that's what is happening.
I don't think he knows that she's living with Brick. I mean, Boom.
Who knows what they know? Because she is the daughter, and that's what they were having the conversation about, which you do not watch. There's a whole scene in there where that U.S. Marshal is cuddled up with her mom. And the mom is complaining about how she had to kick out her daughter again, and now her daughter's living with her baby daddy.
He doesn't know who the daughter is.
Yes, he does. She has pictures all over the house. He knows who she is. That's why it was weird that he went to the restaurant. That's how he knew where she worked. That's why it was weird he went to the restaurant and then started hitting on her. I'm like, what is? I wouldn't put it past Dirty D for him to be like, yeah, I'm sleeping with the mom and the daughter. But then he drops, we're cooking dope. So it was like, and we don't get any explanation. So is it
whatever?
And with it being the Dirty D, who knows if they're going to continue that storyline into the next season? Who knows?
Exactly. So whatever.
But we ended with Boom now leading the Dirty D. He now has his connect with the plug. She gives him a coke-filled queen from a chess game that they played. Cassius's right-hand girl. She survived a shooting. She's sleeping with a cop. Oh, Ice shoots his partner.
So Ice shoots that same cop who's his best friend because he thought he had something to do with India's kidnapping. Also, the cop that's sleeping with the lady whose husband got shot by Boom.
Yaya.
Going into the evidence room, stealing evidence.
To get Brittany free.
For Ice to help get Brittany free. And he's like, this is the last time. Then Ice apparently says that he took the fall for killing Brick's wife for him. But apparently he didn't do it. He just said he did it. Who knows?
Apparently it doesn't matter. We don't need to know who killed Brick's wife at this point.
Who knows?
But do you know what that was in reference to? That was to tie it back to season 2.
We didn't need it at that point. It was too late.
I agree, because it's been ages. Yes. But because that guy was supposed to be dead, remember? That cop?
Oh, apparently he's a dead man walking, apparently.
He was undercover and he was posing as another drug runner. Then he supposedly got killed in his car. And they were like, damn. Oh, because they also were about to find out that he was an undercover cop. So he was working with Ice as part of his cover. Ice was trying to help him keep that cover. And that's where that whole thing came down, where Ice was saying that he covered for him by saying that he killed Brick's wife. I don't know how this helped his cover, but that's what was supposed to be happening. Do we get an explanation? No. But Boom, at some point, comes by because Boom's ex-girlfriend, Nikki, who is the baby mama of Ice's best friends.
Who's also has the baby with...
Sean. This is Sean.
The policeman that got killed.
This is Sean. So Nikki is the baby mama to Sean. She's been living with Sean because she couldn't stay at Boom's anymore because him and his baby mama were driving her crazy. Even though she suspects that that girl, the paternity of her son is up in the air. But either way, her and Boom stopped. But she found the locket in her ex's clothes and gives it to Boom. She doesn't confront her ex. She just goes straight to to Boom.
Why'd she do that?
I don't even know. She just does. And is like, I found this in his pockets. I think he might have something to do with India. Boom then tells Ice, like, hey, my ex found this in her baby daddy's pockets. Who's Sean? She thinks he might have something to do with India. The security guard is like, yo, maybe you should have a conversation with Sean instead of jumping to conclusions. Ice is like, no. And then, yeah, he shoots him. He shoots Sean off a roof. But this is the Dirty D. So Sean could have survived the shot. He might be dead. Who knows? My thing is, if we took Sean out of the story right now, it wouldn't change anything. With everything else that's happening, Sean being taken out of the story does nothing to the rest of the story.
Sounds like Sean wanted more money. So he had to go. The end.
It's a mess. And it's the Dirty D. Oh, I also found out in that interview that she did with Detroit News, there was backlash from a lot of fans from moving the show from Tubi to Peacock.
Yeah. Oh, they got to pay for Peacock.
Yeah, it's behind a paywall.
Okay.
All of a sudden.
Yeah. Sounds like, why? Then I realized Peacock is not free like Tubi.
Right.
And she took it off Tubi because Peacock is paying her.
Yeah. But so Peacock, NBC, they're an owner of Tubi.
So why are they? Oh, because they want to make the money, and they want them to go to Peacock and watch it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But here's my other thing, though. They're not doing any promo for Dirty D. There's no promotion. Unless you follow the show, you have no idea, A, that it moved to Peacock, and B, that it just dropped the last half of its season. There's no promo.
Why will Peacock do a promotion for a show they know only people that have nothing else to do with their lives are going to watch? Why will we do that?
Okay.
We just want to get a small portion of those people that pay us to watch this god-awful, ridiculous show.
Listen, I understand people feel a way about this type of a show and feel like it's doing the black community a disservice. Here's what I say. Get that money. This is Wattpad come to life. If white people can do this, why can't we also enjoy insanity? I feel like it's fair, and I feel like it's a good time. No one's saying that this needs to be cutting edge, diagnostic style criminal investigation. We just need to have a good time, and I think it does that, in my opinion. I don't think it needs to be held to a higher standard for whatever reason. That's my opinion. Just like the Tyler Perry movie that I'm probably going to watch.
You mean Diary of a Mad Black Woman?
I already watched that. The newest one.
You mean I Could Do All Bad All By Myself?
I already watched that as well. Those are old. There's a brand new one on Prime with Megan Good.
You mean
Just going to keep saying old Tyler Perry plays.
Reunion? The class reunion? Or family
Nope.
reunion?
Yep, you're just going to keep saying Tyler Perry plays.
Yeah, because it's pretty much like all those plays combined, that new movie.
I don't know. I've only heard about the first 5 minutes of the movie, which is everybody talking about how it kicks off with a funeral. Some woman comes in and is like, give me my son. And they literally take his body out of the casket and dump it in the back of a truck and drive off and allegedly bury this man in the front yard of that mom's house. What this has to do with the rest of the story, I don't know. But I'll find out. So that's my thing, though. People like to talk shit about Tyler Perry. But I feel like there's room for Tyler Perry's. There's room for Lisa Brown's. There's room to have Medea movies. And there's room to have the Dirty D.
I'm not saying, no one's saying there's not no room for it. We're just saying
it's hot garbage and nobody should watch it. Which to me says there's no room for it.
No, people are just saying. It seems like everything is like that now.
Is it everything? I disagree.
A lot of people feel as though everything is like that now. Everything is ratchet. That's how they feel. So it is what it is. I'm not here to change the hearts and minds of nobody.
Okay.
So
I'm just saying, when it comes to black dramas, people don't watch them like that at all. There's a reason that these types of dramas kick off the way that they do. So There's that, because there's plenty of those styles of shows on BET that are supposed to be of like higher caliber. No one's watching them. First Wives Club is on there. Have you even seen an episode of it? Nope.
No one, because there's no more TV.
I don't know what that means.
Like you had regular TV stations that people used to get for free and watch. A lot of people watch their TV like that. Now with all this digital stuff and
Streaming.
streaming stuff, a lot of people either don't watch TV or can't afford to watch all these for these streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just don't watch TV, or they do what you do, stay on their phone and watch TikToks and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to work with a dude. He's like, yeah, I haven't watched TV in like almost 3-4 years.
Okay, what's that got to do with?
That's why, because a lot of people probably don't even know those shows are on or exist. That's what I'm saying. Because normally watching regular TV, you get commercials and they say, "Oh, coming up next is this." I don't think you don't get that with streaming.
A lot of people do know about the Dirty D. Dirty D gained this massive following with it being on Tubi.
And because of social media, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, social media.
Not with, and that's what I'm saying. If that show you're talking about on BET doesn't have really a big social media following, nobody's gonna know because it's not like they're putting out commercials anyway.
People don't watch commercials.
That's because the TV's changed. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, TV's changed, but you can still do ads like on social media. You can still promote that way, but there's not a lot like that.
If you got the money, and if BET wants to push the show, maybe BET ain't pushing their shows. Maybe that's what it is.
What I'm saying is, there's plenty of highbrow black dramas that are available behind a paywall, not behind a paywall. But I feel the reason why stuff like the Dirty D or Tyler Perry stuff kicks off. One, it's hilarious. But two, it's a quick watch. You know you're about to watch something outrageous. So it hits all of those main points. It keeps your attention for as crazy as it is. It gives you something to talk about, even if it's just to lambast it or hate watch it. It covers all of those things.
I just think, it's like you said, people just want something quick, fast, and easy that they don't have to think and watch.
Mm-hmm.
People just want to, and like I said, what they call it, real true TV.
What?
That type of TV is what it is. It's the it now. It's the thing now.
I don't know what you're saying.
The shows like the Dirty D are like, it's cheaper to make too, and it's cheaper to make in film. So it's the go-to now.
I don't know what you're saying, but okay.
For younger viewers and stuff.
I'm just saying, I find it very interesting that a lot of people are quick to say that it's ratchet, but they will read books like this. This is straight off of the pages of an Eric Jerome Dickey book.
I don't know what to tell you. People be people, I guess how they would say.
People be people.
I just think.
But you're one of those people. You're like, this is too ratchet.
But I don't watch that much TV.
Okay. So?
And two, that's just my opinion. Do I think the Dirty D is funny? Yes, it's hilarious. Is it an easy watch? Yes. But
I'm just saying, I do think that there's a correlation, especially within the black community, of like, even if we have something, it has to be a certain way. It has to be viewed a certain way. It has to be packaged a certain way. And it's still trying to fit into like this mainstream ideal that we will never reach.
I think people are tired of us being the Chuck and Jive dancing ones on TV.
But when they change it and it's not that, it doesn't get watched.
And that's correct too. So people need to figure out what the hell they want to do.
There was a show that was on NBC. It's now on Peacock. It's about it was supposed to be black friends, basically. And it's, I forget what it's called. I don't even remember what it's called. That's how much people did not watch it. It's based in like Chicago, and it's like 4 guys and 1 girl. And it's them like hanging out, talking about their daily lives on a regular basis. It's supposed to be like New Girl meets Friends, but they're all black. No one watched it. No one watched it.
Didn't Megan Good have a show or something that no one really watched?
Harlem. Actually, people watched that one.
Oh, Harlem? Okay.
It was on Amazon.
I think people pick and choose what they want to watch. based on who's in it and who if they like the person or not. You gotta realize a lot of people. I think the thing to do now is to hate watch. Hate watch is like the big thing to do now.
Which is perfect for Dirty D.
Yeah, so I think hate watch is what's popular now. So I think people hate watch a lot of stuff.
My other thing, though, is that it's well known that the entertainment industry gatekeeps. So when you have a show like Dirty D, it's amazing how far it's gotten with it not conforming to the mainstream expectation. It's amazing how far this show has come on its own, and then to get picked up by a major network, like that's amazing.
But at the same time, too, nobody's gonna give that person who made this actual shot at doing something
On a bigger scale, you're
on a
saying?
bigger scale.
But my thing is, they don't have to now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're doing it themselves. But yeah, so that was our worth the watch. That was our worth the watch. The last 3 episodes of Dirty D. I highly enjoyed it. Thank you.
I know our going off the scales felt like the Dirty D for a couple of minutes, but yeah, like you said, I don't know. I don't know what people want anymore. But moving right along to MILF Manor Season 2, Episode 10 and 11.
Yes.
The finale.
The finale. So we're seeing the house deal with the aftermath of Barbie and Kelly's fight that came out of freaking nowhere.
It seems like it was just Barbie and being crazy. And Kelly, for the first time, being the sane one and be like,
And it was throwing everybody off.
Don't know what's going on.
Allegedly, if you follow the Reddit streams, the Reddit streets, Barbie's going after a lot of the girls that are on MILF Manor for some reason.
Now I get why everybody was kind of happy that she was gone. And a lot of the girls were like, whatever. Something, I don't know. Is she triggered?
She's not easy to get along with. It runs hot and cold. You're like, am I in your good graces? Am I not? I don't know what's happening right now.
I think
it changes at a drop of a hat.
I see why she keeps saying the stripper thing.
It's a nice buffer for her to hide behind.
Yeah. And that's the reason why they don't like me. Not because I suck as a human being.
Right. It's not because I'm terrible. It's because I was a stripper.
It's because I was a stripper. Now that whole thing makes sense.
Child. Anyway, so Chris and Barbie have decided to leave the house. They're like, the house is too toxic for us. Like, okay. So they left. We get them in the woods later with Chris promising Barbie his undying love. He says, I'm falling in love with you. I can't wait for our lives outside the house. She's like, oh my God, I love you too. Spoiler.
2 weeks
later. They don't make it.
I hate your guts. You're an abuser. You beat women.
Yes.
You try to mental manipulate me.
She goes on a full out war on social media with this man.
I put my finger in your butt and you liked it.
That part didn't happen. And then, but meanwhile, the rest of the house has to make their decisions about who they want to ultimately end up with, basically. Kelly and Rob look forward to getting to know each other more. We've got Crystal, who is thankful that Barbie's gone. We've got, I already talked about them being in the middle of the woods. They have to take a compatibility test at the house to see if everybody's still on the same page with their prospective partners. It does not go well. So just keep that in mind. The results show that Fletcher, who is one of the young boys, and Sam, who's the other young guy, are not compatible with any of the women in the house. Fletcher just got there, just to turn around and leave. Sam was one of the people that Christina was interested in, but she kind of distanced herself from Sam and was going after David, who is the uncle of Connor.
That's going to shoot her in the foot.
It's going to shoot her in the foot big time. So Fletcher and Sam leave. They go home.
Dismissed. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
The other thing that they find out is that Shauna and Joey are not on the same page. And it comes back to the kids thing. And Joey says he wants kids. Shauna says she's done with having kids.
And then Shauna bows out.
She does. She decides to leave. Joey also leaves because he's like, there's no reason for me to stay after Shauna leaves. The remaining women are instructed to leave the house to prepare for final dates. Do you remember who the remaining women were?
The Kellys.
The both Kelly. Kelly Mac, Kelly, Christina, Crystal, Rebecca.
Baka.
That's who we got left. And they got to decide if they want to stick with these guys or what. So first we got Christina and David. Christina tells David, oh, it's this big thing too. I don't know where the girls go. They go somewhere. but then they have to be boated into the dock to meet up with their prospective person. Christina gets there, meets up with David, tells David that he feels like home, that she's looking forward to their future together. David is not on the same page whatsoever.
First of all, you and your demon friend like to go biking in Myrtle Beach, and God,
like
my
whores,
God,
like whores.
my God won't allow me to be with something like that.
David,
even though my God likes me date younger women that's way too young for me, but
that are in their 20s, and I'm
my God
in my 40s.
frowns upon bike riding in bikinis on the beach.
So
Makes
that's
no
why.
sense.
David's confessions are all like he's really stuck on the fact that he thinks Christina wants to party more and he's looking to settle down, which is hysterical because all the photos we've seen are him and Connor partying other places and him with these very young women. But he's like, I want to settle down. I want to have 7 kids. David's in his 40s. So,
and also he's like, there's a lot of land between me and you. I think you in Texas, she's in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
She has nothing in North Carolina. She can move to Texas. And it's not like she's saying she wouldn't move.
Yeah.
So the whole excuse, well,
it's also not that far. So
too much between me and you.
She can literally catch a flight. She would see you in the same day.
I don't want to have a long distance relationship anymore. I just want somebody who will be there with me.
That man let this woman give this heartfelt speech about how she feels about him for him to be like, no.
I'll tell you.
Like he doesn't tell her straight to her face, listen, it's not going to work. He doesn't cut it for her at all. He just kind of hems and haws around it like, well, the distance and the partying and the distance.
I want 7 kids. I don't know if you want kids anymore.
It's ridiculous. Christina rightfully gets upset with him and is like, I have to leave. I have to go. I have to go.
I don't know how to break up.
And it's David being like, well, no one wants to be the bad guy. David, anyway.
No one wants to be the bad guy.
So they end. And then you have Christina reflecting like, I just sent Sam home. Like, I just sent Sam home.
I could have got me some young cock.
I could have been with Sam. Well, anywho. Then we move on to Rebecca and Connor and Anthony. Rebecca was the brand new girl who came in with Shauna, who shook things up. Lynette went home because Rebecca came into the house, and Anthony was like, ooh, who this person? For whatever reason, Anthony thinks that he in the running. He thinks he in there. Even though Rebecca has had more dates with Connor in the short time that she's been there than she has with Anthony.
So now we step up to the plate, Rebecca. What's your decision?
Rebecca standing with Connor and Anthony, and she gives her speech about how they're great guys, but ultimately it's going to be Connor.
If Anthony goes, Paterka, I should have stayed with, what's her face?
Lynette.
My fault. My bad.
He doesn't say that at all. But
I'm going to cook some pizzas in my restaurant. Call it a day.
To his credit, though, he's very respectful. Like, he respectfully bows out. He's not like, well, fuck you then. Like, it doesn't happen like that. He's just like, well, good luck to the both of you. Leaves it at that.
I'm happy life punched him in the balls. Good for him. Should have took the one that wanted you.
Connor and Rebecca have an awkward kiss and leave.
But that's what happens. The person who wants us, we don't never want that person.
Very interesting.
We can get so much better. And then life comes around and kicks us right in the nuts or in the pussy, whichever one you got, and you realize, damn.
I should have appreciated what I had when I had it.
Exactly.
Sometimes it happens that way. Then we
Good for him.
Then we get to Crystal and Stacy. This is the story where Crystal has been chasing Stacy since he got there, and he hasn't given her the time of day.
I don't know. I understand why Crystal felt the way she felt.
Let's get there. Stacy all of a sudden is like, Crystal's the one for me. Like all of a sudden, Crystal's the one for him. He can't wait for them to like start to explore more of this relationship.
Can we stop right there? I think Stacy was more about, okay, I like to go home and talk to her and see where this goes. But you already had her in the friend zone. I don't think there's nothing she could have done to get out that friend zone. So what was the point to him having that retrospect to himself standing on the pier?
Well, I think that's Crystal's point because she doesn't meet him. She ends up ditching him. He gets a note saying that she ultimately decided not to meet him at that dock. She's going to stay single. She wishes him the best of luck. But she didn't see anything that would have constituted them moving forward as a couple at all.
So apparently,
which makes sense.
She took the speedboat to the airport. I didn't
Basically,
know there's like a pier to pull up at the airport and get off on, go right to the plane. But don't they stay in St. Louis together?
I don't know why. No, they're from St. Louis. They don't both live there. He lives in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And she lives in North Carolina.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought she lived in St. Louis.
They're from there.
My bad. Oh, well then.
You can be from a place and not live there. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
I'm just telling you.
I thought
Learn new things every day.
I thought you couldn't leave wherever you're from.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were stuck.
That's why I was explaining it to you.
I thought there were walls.
So Kelly and Rob also meet up. This is the most random coupling ever. Kelly is known to only like younger guys. She goes out of her way to let you know that she only dates younger guys. And then here she is trying to move forward with Rob, who's older than her. It's very interesting. Also, he just got there. But in Kelly's eyes, Rob has moved in a way that no man in her life has ever done for her. And that's when he tried to stand up for her when Barbie was coming at her at the random fight that happened. That was enough for Kelly to be like, maybe I should give this a try. Connor's also like, or not Connor, Rob is like, I think also we should give this a try. Which is interesting because Kelly was interested in Connor, his nephew. Oh no, another guy's nephew. But she got ditched. So now Rob's like, you want to make this work? We have long distance. Kelly lives in California. He lives
Florida.
But, I think it's worth it. And she's like, okay. And they do. They move forward. Spoiler, though, they don't last. Then we've got Kelly Mack and Darren. I think the only true couple that come out of the show. The whole time. They took their time getting to know each other. Kelly Mack was very careful about putting on all her eggs in one basket. She gets to the dock. He's there, and he tells her that he realizes he thought he was coming to the house to meet new people and get his flirt on, but really it was he came to meet Kelly Mack because he really cares about her. They cry together, and they decide to move forward as a couple, and they are still together. Spoiler.
Whatever.
It was cute.
He's a punk anyway.
It was cute.
Crying.
I like that the only guy that stepped out of here with like an actual fruitful coupling was the guy on crutches. So that's it. That's MILF Manor.
That's why his ass is always on crutches because he's crying all the damn time.
How do you think they're going to move forward with season 3? First season, it was the older cougars dating the sons of the same women in the house. Second season, it was the dad-son duos. How do they move forward in season 3?
It's going to be cousins and uncles.
Right? Something crazy. Yep. Or teachers. I feel like it's going to be their son's teachers. It's going to be something insane.
No. Yeah. No, I think it's the uncle and cousin.
I don't know. I have no idea. Or their girlfriends, fathers. I don't know. Something crazy.
Their daughter's husband's father. Something crazy
is going to happen. But that was it. That was MILF Manor season 2. Moving on to 90 Day the Other Way.
90 Day the Other Way.
Do you remember the song you had for this show?
Raw. No.
Okay. 90 Days the Other Way.
I had a song for this?
You did. Season 6, episode 2.
Ooh, that was really long. I got to listen to the old podcast and figure it out.
You're so crazy. We didn't see any James and Metalia. Thankfully. We did see Shekinah and Sarper, Josh and Lily, Corona and Inky, and Statler and Dempsey. Who do you want to talk about first?
Statler and Dempsey.
Statler and Dempsey is a mess. If you don't remember, they were in was it just regular 90 Day Fiance? Or was it like
90 Day the Other Way?
Was it another 90 Day the Other Way?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or was it before the 90 days?
Before the 90 days. I think
it was one of those. Yeah. Where they hadn't met each other in person yet, and then they finally met each other in person. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Statler said she was going to move her whole life over to the UK to be with Dempsey.
So apparently Dempsey and her are just going to drive around.
Well, now. So before, she was going to live in that caravan with Dempsey. But then she saw how small that caravan was and how it had no running water and no bathroom. And it was the whole thing. Then all of a sudden, she was not going to do that. They also weren't on the same page about anything in terms of their relationship. Dempsey wants kids. Statler does not. Statler wants to get married. Dempsey does not. They weren't on the same page about anything.
That's what makes a strong relationship. Not being on the same page about anything. Jeez, I thought you knew that.
Hello. Wow. Have you been watching the show?
Hello.
So now, Statler and Dempsey, who are still together for some reason, they are planning to be in van life. Van life on paper sounds magical. You can get a van, you can repurpose that van
Van life?
to be like this amazing little live-in area where you get to travel and live out of your van. It sounds romantic. Practicality-wise, is usually not. It's usually a nightmare.
They're gonna be in a caravan of love.
Van life usually don't have bathrooms, so you're reliant on a lot of public bathrooms. You have to think about maintenance on the vehicle because you are driving it. All of the places.
You gotta find some way to park it.
You gotta find somewhere to park it. All kinds of fun stuff. Restock it, fuel it, all the things. It's a lot.
If you do have a bathroom, flushing that out and getting rid of the waste somehow at certain spots.
Right. And further maintenance on that vehicle.
Because that is actually a hazard that you gotta get rid of it a certain way too.
You do. You have to go to certain places to get rid of it. Absolutely. Have they thought of all this? Probably not. So
I think Dempsey has.
I agree.
Statler has not.
I agree. Dempsey's excited because she's selling her caravan. She saved her half of the money to get this van. Now she just needs Statler to do her part. Statler, immediately off rip, is not happy about having to do any of this. She's waited to the last minute to pack her stuff, get her apartment ready to be sold, and is hemming and hawing about selling her truck that she's named Aspen. She takes her truck to a secondhand dealership to see what she could get for it and meets the nicest car dealer ever, who quotes her a price for her truck that's higher than her expected price that she thought she was going to get for this truck. Statler tells us through her confessionals, the plan is she took out a $20,000 loan and she's supposed to sell this car so that they can buy this van. She decides not to sell the car. She's too attached to the car. She's like, I know I was supposed to. I know she wanted me to, but maybe she's just using me for my money.
And I'm like, how? She's putting up half of the money herself. How she's using
you also still have the loan anyway.
I don't see. I thought Statler had a point when she said that. Because I thought she was putting up majority money. Now Dempsey is putting up half of the money, and Dempsey's like, I told you how much we need in pounds. In US dollars.
Which, if you're looking at it like that and got that conversions, Dempsey's putting up more money than Statler.
That's not her fault. She didn't tell her to live in America.
What? Statler? You're talking about how it's not Statler's fault or it's not Dempsey's fault?
It's not Dempsey's fault that Statler have to pay more money in US dollars.
We find out.
She didn't tell her to live in America.
After Dempsey has sold her caravan to put money towards this van, they still don't have enough money for the van. Between the $20,000 loan that Statler has taken out and the money Dempsey's got, plus her, selling her caravan, they're still short about 10-ish grand to get this van. Because Statler was supposed to sell the truck. If Statler has sold her car, they would have had close to another 20 grand to put towards the van.
And she told him when she needed the money by.
And apparently, she also told her that she was selling the truck. She's like, we already had this. You see them having the FaceTime discussion. And it's Statler going, you were throwing so many numbers at me. I didn't realize about the pounds to U.S. money convergence and what that rate was.
That's why she said,
I didn't know I was supposed to sell the truck. And it's Dempsey going, no, we fully had a conversation about how, I was going to put my savings up, sell the caravan. You were going to take out the loan and sell your truck so that we can get the van. But Statler's painting it like it's just being thrown at me. I don't know what's going on. And we've seen Statler do this before. We've seen Statler all of a sudden change some details to fit her own narrative against Dempsey.
And then she blames her ADHD.
She blames her ADHD. And now she said that she's been diagnosed by being on the spectrum. So she can throw that in the mix as well.
Spectrum of not paying her goddamn attention. That's a spectrum now? You mean to tell I could have been using that excuse all my life?
She has been, from the start of their story through the rest of the episode, it's just Statler being like, I don't know this is a good idea. I don't know that I want to do this. I don't know about moving into a van. Bitch, why are you doing it then? Tell her no. Say no. I'm staying in my apartment. What is the problem?
I can go for that. No.
What is the problem? But at the same time, Dempsey also knows that this is part of Statler's behavior. So I don't know exactly what she's expecting out of Statler. Clearly, Statler doesn't want to do this. What are we doing? So
I didn't know.
that's them.
My whole thing is I didn't know you can blame not paying attention as a disorder. I did not know we could do that.
I didn't know that you could forget that there's a conversion rate. I didn't know that you could do that.
Because she's not paying attention, Javon. She has paid attention deficit syndrome. She can't pay attention.
The conversion of U.S. money to euros or the UK money, it's almost double what we get. So if we went into the UK with $20, that's basically 10 pounds there. It's steep. I don't know how she was out there with Dempsey for like a month. How did she not know? Anyway.
She probably used American cash.
You can still use American cash, but it would be pricier. She would know that she's paying a lot for her milk or her medicine.
She has attention deficit syndrome. She don't know.
That's not a thing. Attention deficit disorder. But she also found out that that's secondary to her autism. Anywho.
The autism of not paying attention.
So that's Statler and Dempsey. It's them fighting. It's Dempsey being like, are you coming out here or what? What's going on? Oh, and it's Statler being like, well, I'm supposed to fly out there tomorrow and we don't have a van. And we don't have a place to live. And it's like, girl, did you sell the truck? Anyway.
Well, but moving on to Josh and Lily, because Statler and Dempsey, Statler can't get together. And so Josh and Lily, this is Josh's fourth marriage?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he's going to jack this one up, but he's going to figure out how to do it. And I don't know why.
He is very hesitant about being a house husband. He's like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about being in a country where, that's very patriarchal. The guy usually does the work. But in my case, because of the requirements for this visa, I can't work for an extended amount of time.
You don't have to leave the house.
Why can't you continue to work in America? Can't you work remote? I have more questions.
Of course.
I got more questions.
That makes too much sense.
I got questions.
You can get a job doing something in the house where you, like a call help center.
Couldn't you work remote? We just watched another 90 Day of this dude who is traipsing all over the world to have babies. And he works remote from a U.S. company. So anywho.
Statler's doing it.
Statler's doing it. Yeah. She's going to be working remote from the van. I got so many questions. Anywho. But whatever. For whatever reason, he's not going to go that route. But he's excited to see his wife, but he's also nervous about it. And he's asking every male he comes across with his translator app how they feel about the man not working in the household. And they all tell him the same thing. The man's got to work.
Are you asking people how they feel about you not working? No one knows you're not working. You're telling them. So why are you telling on yourself? Number one. Number two, you don't really have to leave the house. You don't. She has everything in the house that you need. Everything. So I don't understand the problem.
I don't know. He's also like, I'm going to be without my friends and stuff. I don't speak the language. You didn't think about this?
Friends when you got money. You didn't need friends when you got money.
You can have friends on the internet. You can have friends on the internet. But also, you had time to think about this. So, but he's now in China. And he's about to wreck shop. So that's going to be fun. Also, what did you think of his goodbye with his parents?
I thought it was funny. I know his dad was happy. His dad was like, "Could you move any faster, sir?"
His dad's throwing thumbs up at him.
Like, yeah, me and your mom walk around the house naked again. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very interested to see where this is going to go.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Ultimately.
Because she's going to keep telling him he's a freeloader and he can't take it because his American in him is just going to explode.
So here's the other thing. They got married in America and now he's in China. How does that work with that government? Is it recognized?
You asking me like I know.
I'm just asking in general. Is it recognized?
Idea.
Do they have to? Because they're also planning a wedding, a traditional Chinese wedding.
Who cares?
He does.
At the end of the day, you're going to be taken care of. All you got to do is grit your teeth and get through it. That's all you got to do.
Well, is he going to be taken care of? Because remember, she maxed out all her credit cards.
Apparently, whatever.
Who you want to talk about next? Let's do Shekinah and Sarper.
Whatever.
Shekinah finally makes it to Turkey. Sarper cried. They have a fight immediately. She gets to the house and notices that it's dirty. He hasn't cleaned anything. He hasn't even made room for her to put all her stuff in there. And he's looking at her like, I don't know why you thought I was going to do that. Then she sees that he still has the bookcase of bottles. I definitely thought these bottles were going to be something else, not liquor bottles, but whatever. It's a collection of liquor bottles. He says these liquor bottles are just a culmination of places that he's been to. These all hold the memory of where he was at a certain time. That's why he has this collection of bottles. Shekinah says, no, he has these bottles because these represent every woman he's ever had relations with. And she can't stand it. She wants them gone. He also has a little black book. I don't know exactly what's in this black book. Just names and phone numbers. I don't know. She wants him to get rid of all of that if they're going to be together. He's like, you need to get over this because I'm not getting rid of it. It doesn't mean, he's like, it's not that serious. These are just memories. She's like, you're not going to get rid of it, then I'm not going to get rid of this. And pulls out a red, old school binder. And says, this is a 194-page letter I got from my boyfriend back in high school when I was 17. We're in our 40s. It's been about 30-something years. But he has the audacity to be shocked. He's like, what? Why would you keep this? And he gets upset and he throws the binder. And that's it. That's all we have for them.
Because he's an emotional punk. I told you he cries. He's emotional. This is what happens when you give an emotional man.
I don't know where we're going with this.
A trapper keeper makes him cry.
Here's my thing. Is
From
this
90
real?
years ago.
Is this real or is this producers? Because when those pages fell out, there's no writing.
I don't know. First of all, ain't no kid writing a 143-page.
90. No, you're right. 143.
Page letter to nobody. Ain't no dude at that age got 143 words to put together to nobody.
What if it's one word a page? What if it's just like real big one words?
It don't even matter. That's still too much.
I got so many questions.
You know all the love letters I wrote to people?
Oh, and the other thing is they didn't end up together, so clearly it meant nothing. So
exactly.
I don't know.
This is the extent of my love letter. I like you. Do you like me? Yes, no, maybe so. Boxes. Check one.
I don't even think you wrote all that.
That's it.
I don't even think you did that.
You correct. I had my friend write it.
You're so crazy.
I don't write nothing. I'm a G.
So in the same extent that this letter doesn't mean anything because you didn't end up with this person, you could also apply that to his bottles in that black book. He didn't end up with any of these people.
And that's the debacle called Shanika.
Nope.
Shekinah.
You can't read.
Nope.
Interesting.
Because look like Shekinya.
What?
Shekinya.
What?
Shekinya and Cypher.
Okay, Colin.
Moving on to.
There's no I in his name, but
Corona and Iggy.
No, Inky.
How about you spell it I-N-K-I?
You just told me you can't read,
Inky.
so wouldn't that be a waste of my time?
So I could just say Inky.
You just told me you can't read, so why would I do that?
Just write it the way it said. Inky.
You told me you can't read.
Inky. So
I'm gonna love this couple. They're gonna be my favorite one.
Because he's about to learn black anger like he's never learned in his life. So Corona's on their way to Iceland.
Well, okay, so I was under the impression he thought she was coming for a visit, but no, he knows that she's coming to move in because his friends are like concerned. They're like, you're kind of moving fast. And I'm like, it's moving fast for him to have her move in? They're like, it's only been 5 months. But then we find out that Inky's never had a relationship. Corona's his first anything. So we're like, oh, he says it's because he's been rather picky. He's had a long list. We also find out, he confirms my theory that there is an app to make sure you don't date a cousin. And he hasn't had success. He also hints that some people just dismiss the cousin thing. Like they're like, well, I might address this before I sleep with them or after. I might choose to deal with it after I already slept with my cousin.
I just like the way they had him walking around town like he knows everybody. Hey! Hey!
I think it was supposed to
high fives.
Really highlight like we don't really see people outside of this country. It's just these few families.
So
he meets up with his friends. They play D&D. I love it. And they're basically just like, all right, your girlfriend's coming. She seems really cool. Also, his retelling of how they met, hilarious. Hysterical. Because Corona painted it like, I went to the party, they were partying hard, I needed some sleep, and he, like a gentleman, let me sleep in his room. He says she just crashed in his bed. He didn't know what was going on.
He woke up, there's a strange woman just laying
He
there,
didn't know what was
and
happening.
he just went, okay, and left.
He was like, I don't know why like if somebody told me that I would be dating a woman who just decided to sleep in my bed, I would have thought they were crazy. Like, that's interesting. So
I like how she made it seem like it was a fairy tale thing.
yes, and he
And
was
when you
like,
get the guy's
she was a
opinion,
weirdo that showed up.
she's a weirdo that fell asleep in my bed and wouldn't leave.
Crazy. So he's talking with his friends. He also kind of laments about the fact that most of his friends are married. He talks about how like they had really great times when everybody was single and bachelors, but he's like one of two of his friends that are not married now. Everybody's married or having kids, and he thinks it's kind of lame. I'm like, oh, I'm glad you're in this relationship with Corona.
Losers.
So his friends are like, are you ready to live with a woman? Do you know what that's going to be like? Like, are you prepared?
No. Are you ready to live with an angry black woman?
They don't know what that is, Calvin. This is Iceland. So they're like, what about marriage? Is marriage on the horizon since you guys are moving in together? And he looks at them like they're crazy. He's like, why would I be talking about marriage after 5 months of dating? And they're like, why would you move in with her after 5 months of dating? He's like, no, marriage is not on the table, which is not what Corona's thinking.
I just want to see her rage, because apparently her rage is not normal.
I don't think it's not normal. I think it is normal.
No.
I think so.
No.
I think so.
Nothing should make you so angry that you want to cuss, yell, and fight.
No, that happens sometimes.
Sometimes. Seems like that's where she goes straight to.
If that was the case, he would have already seen it then, because that was the whole her family's whole point, is that they haven't seen it yet.
Because apparently she was restraining it. She said it. It took everything in her to just restrain it.
She didn't say it took everything.
Yes, that's what she said.
She said she was gentle partnering him.
So it took everything within her not to do it. But now she's going to live.
I don't think so.
And she's
because they had their
don't
own
do it.
spaces. So I don't think it took everything. I think she was able to avoid it because they had their own spaces. Now they won't have their own spaces.
Okay.
Because you can click off a phone call like that. Like if you're getting mad at somebody, you just click off a phone call. You get time to cool down. But living with that person, you don't get to click off that phone call. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when she gets there and she's expecting like this romantic situation and he's gonna treat her like a roommate. So it's gonna be funny. That's really it. That's all that's happening so far. What did you think of the show?
It's a lot of good, diverse couples. When I say diverse,
they're like all white.
When I say diverse, I mean different storylines.
Okay.
No storyline is almost the same.
Okay.
We got two females, whom one is overly emotional, and one is yet to show how emotional she could be. You got a couple who just fights just to fight. They can't help themselves.
Not gonna use nobody's names?
That's Sopper.
Who were the two females then? Who are you talking about?
Corona and Natalia.
They're not even a couple.
James and Natalia. Natalia is overly emotional.
Very interesting. Okay. Because I thought you were talking about Corona and Inky.
And Corona hasn't shown her how emotional she could be yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you got those two, but they're different. They're on different spectrums.
Mm-hmm.
They say one gets really angry and one just cries.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Sopper and Shakina.
You know her name.
Shakanya, whatever. They shouldn't be together. All they do is argue. That's it.
Someone in the talk around them, they think it's part of their relationship. Like it's foreplay for their relationship. Get really, really angry.
Who knows? It could be.
And it just fuels like the fire, I guess.
Who knows? That could be why. That could be.
That's depressing.
The reason. Then you have Statler and Dempsey. One person who's can't remember anything that she's told, and everything is a surprise to her.
Mm-hmm.
Another person is like, I told you this 15,000 times.
I feel like Statler and Dempsey are both dreamers, but they're not in the same dream. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like.
Their dreams are different.
Like they both want this big romance, but not on the same
One
way.
dreams practical, one just dreams the dream because you can do it.
Which one's which?
Dempsey's the one who dreams, but it's practical. Okay, I do this and this and this. Maybe this could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Statler just dreams.
Just like I feel like Statler is impulsive, and then when it comes to actually taking the action, she's like, I didn't know about this. What are you talking about? Since when?
I didn't know
What?
that my dream told me I can't. I can do this. I didn't know. I can't. I just dream. I'm just a dreamer. I didn't know I had to do things to make my dreams come true.
And spoilers, Statler and Dempsey aren't together anymore. So I don't I don't know how far this is gonna go.
Then you got Josh and Lily. Josh, who is sabotaging himself already.
Yeah. Hard. But he also has said his previous relationships also revolved around him not making enough. So I see why he's sabotaging himself. This is not new for him.
So, and you have that, which is different than anybody else here.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has a different little thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by this year's mode. Maybe diverse is a wrong word to use. It's more interesting because normally all the seasons before, all couples felt the same. And it felt dry.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like they were forced into everything. Seems like with a lot of these couples, they just go, here's a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens. Except maybe for Sopper, then they might do something. But for everybody else, they can just go, here. There you go. Let's see what happens.
So there's
Whereas last year, or a couple of episodes, seasons prior, it's like, here's a bottle. But now we're going to put you here, put you there. This is going to happen.
right.
Ask them about this. Seems like they're more hands off on this season, I should say.
I don't know. So there's a conversation that they feel that they're more hands on, especially with Sarper and Shekinah. Because Sarper he wasn't a likable personality.
I think that's the only one though, that it feels like to me.
Somebody said that they think the producers put him up to having that particular counting OCD where he counts everything. Mm-hmm. They think it's for the show, that it's not actually something he has.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how true that is.
But I'm just saying, that's the only one that feels like you said, like
constructed.
Constructed. Everyone else feels like, oh, these people are just crazy.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Corona and Inky also kind of feel constructed. Like they found two people, put out an ad in Craigslist, and was like, "Yeah, you gonna do it?" They were like, "Sure, let's do it."
But the chaos that might happen probably ain't.
It's hilarious. Yeah. Anywho, that's it. Unless there's any other shows you want to talk about or happen to catch.
Well, I just was sleeping and woke up and I watched Last Chance U. It's pretty much just like a football Netflix documentary about football players who pretty much either was kicked out of Division I or didn't make it to Division I.
Haven't you rewatched that show 1,000 times?
There's an episode, Where Are They Now, that I didn't know existed.
Oh.
I didn't watch. I woke up and was looking at it. I'm like, this is different.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to finish watch that because it's interesting. Cause like one of the guys who was like one of the main characters, he went to jail, and like him and a group of guys was with this guy. Somehow this guy ended up stabbed up and dead.
I wonder if they're going to do it for the basketball side then.
I wonder too. But yeah, so I'm looking at that, trying to figure out what thing HBO Max or what streaming service The Mole is on, so I can watch it or check it out.
What's The Mole?
Pretty much like a game show where they bring a group of people together. They all go to different places, travel around, and then it's somebody who is the mole, who's the bad guy. What if they got to figure out who it is?
Okay.
So, trying to figure out how to watch that without having to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
I think I found it on YouTube.
Okay.
So I'll probably try to check that out.
Okay.
I think Anderson Cooper is the host, I think.
I don't know.
I want to say. Had some other people suggest some other stuff. And I guess we're just waiting for the Dirty Atlanta, or what is it called?
The Dirty A.
The Dirty A,
That's gonna be a long wait.
or whatever. And
We,
whatever
wrestling.
else we figure out to watch.
Wrestling.
I can't.
WWE.
I can watch some of it. I can't watch all of it.
We can watch Level Up. We can watch NXT. We can watch Raw, SmackDown, any of the live events. Maybe I can coax you into watching the live events because they don't happen all the time.
I can watch those.
But
those are a little bit more exciting.
There's a wrestler named Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. His music is so catchy. His gimmick and his intro song are so catchy. He started out in TNA wrestling, which I still don't know what that stands for. I want to say tits and ass, but I'm very sure that doesn't mean that.
Wow.
What else would it mean? What else would it mean? What else would it be?
TNA, it sounds familiar though. I don't know. I've never watched the wrestling.
Okay. So he started out there and he kind of built his career. And then it started to cross over. Like the popularity of that song gave him a jump. And then all of a sudden he was showing up on NXT. And then he was showing up on NXT again. And there's rumor that he might be on their roster. If he makes it to WWE, that means he can make it to main stage. He could go on Raw or SmackDown at some point. It's an exciting time right now for Joe Hendry. It's super exciting. I can't wait. I want to see. What happens. He cracks me up. It's so funny.
I'm glad you found wrestling in your later years.
Also, though, so they're doing this build up of a head to head with LA Knight, the guy you said who named himself after shoes, who's from around here. He's from Hagerstown.
He took British Knights and LA gear and made a name.
They said he's trying to be The Rock, but it feels to me like he's trying to be Hulk Hogan. He wears this like leather vest, which I guess is what The Rock used to wear, but he wears, his colors are red and yellow like Hulk.
Yeah, he's trying to be a mixture of both.
It's very interesting. Like. Anyway, he's supposed to have a head-to-head with Logan Paul for the United States Championship because they have a gazillion belts. As much as I loathe Logan Paul, loathe him. He's an excellent heel. An excellent heel. But he's also a part-timer with WWE. So he doesn't show up a lot. He really only shows up for like the live events. I'm wondering what they gain keeping this the way that they've been doing it.
Followers.
They don't need followers, though.
Evidently they do.
I wonder if it's contractual. Because they show his drink in every match.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's just contractual.
Yeah.
But I also wonder if part of that contract is that he can't lose the belt. Because his original agreement was with Vince McMahon, not the new board.
Whatever.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. And if LA Knight's going to win it. Because I would really hate it if he loses to Logan Paul.
Well, get ready to be upset.
Well, people are saying that about his brother facing off Tyson. Especially since Tyson had to take, especially since they had to reschedule it due to Tyson's medical event.
50 Tyson? Is it 50 Tyson?
I don't know what you're saying.
50 Tyson used to be an old rapper. I do. You just got to watch this. I'll show you a video of 50 Tyson. I don't want. It's messed up. Yeah.
Okay. Anywho. That's happening.
He's like a autistic dude.
What? Okay, no, we're not going to go that route. Anyway. Anywho. That's it. That's all I got. I'm going to rope Calvin into watching wrestling.
Sure.
Thank you for listening to We Like That podcast.
So we like that.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know you want to. And rate us 5 stars. I'm Javon.
I'm Calvin.
Later, people.
And we're out.